Welcome to Bible Storytime, and thank you for joining us. Today we step into one of the most uncomfortable, challenging, and profoundly moving stories in the entire Bible. This is not a story of triumphant battles or public miracles. It is the story of a prophet whose own life, whose own marriage and family became a painful, living sermon. This is the story of Hosea and his adulterous wife. Our story begins in the northern kingdom of Israel. On the surface, it was a time of prosperity and power, but underneath the glittering facade, the nation was spiritually sick. They had forsaken the Lord, their true husband, and were chasing after other gods, the Baals, the idols of fertility and power. Their worship was a chaotic mix of empty rituals and outright rebellion. They had broken their covenant with God. Into this world steps the prophet Hosea, and the very first word the Lord speaks to him is a command that is shocking and defies all convention. God says, "Go, marry a promiscuous woman and have children with her, for like an adulterous wife, this land is guilty of unfaithfulness to the Lord." Let that sink in. God commanded his prophet, his holy spokesman, to intentionally marry a woman known for her unfaithfulness, a woman named Gomer. This wasn't a punishment, it was a parable. Hosea's life was to become a stage, and his personal heartbreak would be a public demonstration of God's own heartbreak over his people. Hosea was commanded to feel what God felt. So Hosea obeyed. He married Gomer, and she conceived and bore him a son. God then commanded Hosea to name the boy Jezreel. The name meant God scatters, a name of judgment. It was a reminder of a past massacre at a place called Jezreel, and a prophecy that God would soon scatter and put an end to the kingdom of Israel for its sins. Hosea had to look at his own son and call him by the name of God's coming judgment. Then Gomer conceived again and gave birth to a daughter, and God's command for the name was even more devastating. "Call her Lo-Ruhamah," God said, which means not loved or no mercy, "for I will no longer show love to the house of Israel, that I should at all forgive them." Imagine the pain of a father holding his infant daughter, forced to name her unloved as a message to the nation. The heartbreak deepened. Gomer had a third child, another son, and God said, "Call him Lo-Ammi," which means not my people. "For you are not my people, and I am not your God." This was the ultimate statement of a broken relationship. The covenant was shattered. Through the names of his own children, Hosea was living out the tragic story of God's divorce from his unfaithful people. Judgment, no mercy, and finally rejection. His family life was a public billboard of national disgrace. This is where the story could end, in utter darkness and despair. A broken prophet, an unfaithful wife, and children named for judgment and rejection. It is a portrait of complete hopelessness. But just when the story reaches its bleakest point, God does the unexpected. He pivots. Right after declaring them not my people, God makes a promise that defies the very judgment he just pronounced. He says, "Yet the Israelites will be like the sand on the seashore, which cannot be measured or counted." In the place where it was said to them, "You are not my people," they will be called children of the living God. And he says that not loved will one day be called my loved one. In the depths of judgment, God plants the seed of an impossible restoration. His final word is not rejection, but redemption. His heartbreak does not lead to final abandonment, but to a relentless, pursuing love that will one day buy back and restore what was lost. A story that unfolds in the later chapters of Hosea. This is not just an ancient, bizarre story. It's a profound revelation of the heart of God. First, it shows us the true nature of sin. Sin isn't just breaking a rule in a book. It's personal, it's relational, it's adultery, it's breaking the heart of a God who loves us with the passion of a devoted husband. When we chase after our own idols, be it money, approval, power, or pleasure, we are being unfaithful. Second, it reveals the depth of God's love. It is not a cheap, sentimental love. It is a costly, scandalous love that is willing to enter into our mess, to associate with our shame, and to bear the pain of our betrayal. Hosea's love for Gomer is a raw, earthly picture of God's divine love for us. And finally, it is a story of hope. No matter how far we have strayed, no matter how broken the relationship seems, God's ultimate desire is to restore. He is the God who can take a people called not my people and call them his beloved children. The story of Hosea is the story of the gospel, written in a marriage. It's the story of a faithful husband who, in the end, pursues his unfaithful bride not to condemn her, but to win her back. It points us to Jesus, the ultimate bridegroom, who came for a broken and unfaithful world to make us his own. Thank you for watching Bible Storytime. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. These ancient stories still breathe life, because the same God whose love pursued a broken people still pursues us with that same relentless, restorative love today.